Well, we can talk now to Mona Salama, who's a conservative political commentator in the United States who supports Donald Trump. She's joining us from New York. And also Lewis Nelson, who's the breaking news reporter for Politico, who's in Washington. Thanks, both of you, very much for being with us. Mona, to you first of all, do you think this is a fatal blow to the Trump campaign?
Well, the words are definitely fatal, and his actions is what he's going to do from tomorrow onwards the next 30 days. Is just going to have to put it on full force speed ahead and just go on full steroids and try to convince the American voters, especially minorities and women, that that's not the person he was 11 years ago today, that the person he has been the past 18 months running as a GOP nominee is the person that he is going to be when he becomes president.
Can I just ask you, as a woman, do you find these comments, as his wife has said, quote, unacceptable and offensive?
Of course, you know, every woman is going to find it horrendous, but then again, we live in a society that glorifies sex all the time. I've heard this numerous times from, you know, a regular Joe Schmuck to even higher ups in my life. So, of course, I find it repulsive, but I think this is just a big distraction of what's going on in the real world. And the fact that the media is focused on this nonstop, except for the debate tomorrow, just shows what's going on and what they really care about. And media only cares about tragedy and sex, and this is really, really repulsive more.
Lewis Nelson from Politico, we've seen some senior Republicans, including Senator John McCain, abandoning Donald Trump, saying they can't support him. How damaging to Trump is that?
I think that sort of remains to be seen. A lot of the people that have been abandoning Donald Trump are people who have only really sort of been lukewarm in endorsing him to this point, have maybe sort of held their nose and said, okay, I guess I'll support the nominee. These have not, in a lot of cases, been full-throated endorsements of Donald Trump. I think certainly it's fair to say that this will be somewhat damaging, but the extent of that damage, I think, still remains to be seen. The people who have been abandoning Trump to this point have been, I think, people who Donald Trump would identify as the establishment, or the GOP establishment, and that's not what Donald Trump's campaign has been built on from the start. He's been built on this sort of grassroots support that goes against a lot of the GOP orthodoxy, and there's no evidence yet, at least that I've seen, that those folks, Trump supporters on the grassroots level, are turning away from him.
But Mona Salama, as a Trump supporter, you know, women now, when they look at Donald Trump, women across the United States, if they were going to vote for Donald Trump, they're not very likely to now, are they?
Well, it really depends. You know, there's a leaked video from, it was released like the beginning of this year. Obama in 1995 has said the same exact, well, not the same word, but he's used the P word. I'm not going to say it on air. And the way how he said it is, I find it more repulsing. And it came out, and he became president. We live in a society that, it's been, women have always been objectified. And, the best that Donald Trump can do tomorrow is just focus on the issues, because if you look at the latest poll from Fox News yesterday, when it comes to national security, when it comes to economics, when it comes to a lot of those things that he's been focusing on, he scores higher than Hillary Clinton. And if he can get away from this whole high school drama of oh my God, he said this and that, and focus on the issues, the American people are going to realize 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, because we all know Donald Trump, from before he ran for president, lived a very vicarious, very promiscuous lifestyle.
Okay.
It's obvious that he's said this one or too many times before. It released 30 days before the election. It's become a big controversy.
Lewis Nelson from Politico, how does he fight back from here? Because he's already said that he said, quote, see you at the debate on Sunday. So he was kind of hinting that he's going to hit back hard at Hillary Clinton and indeed Bill Clinton.
Sure. And, you know, he sort of telegraphed this strategy already after the first debate. He said, oh, I've got some things I had some things that were very rough that I was going to say, sort of implying, and then later sort of outright saying he was going to talk about Bill Clinton's history of marital infidelities. You know, I'm certain that Hillary Clinton had something ready for that at the first debate, and now even more so probably will be prepared for that. But Donald Trump did not get to this point where he is either in his business career, in his career as a celebrity, or now in his career as a politician by pulling punches. It has served him well in some cases, and in other cases it hasn't. Mona's talking about these the things he said before he became a presidential nominee, before he was a politician. Even since he's joined the political arena, he said, a pretty good handful of things that might otherwise be disqualifying for any other candidate. If you remember 4 years ago, the political media a hard time for talking about his binders full of women. That seems pretty tame relative to some of the stuff that Donald Trump has said, even since becoming a politician.
And Mona, finally to you, he was already behind in the opinion polls. Surely he's going to be even further behind after all of this, and that means he's got an awful lot of work to do to win this race for the White House.
Well, both candidates have a very negative appeal when it comes to opinions. You know, Hillary Clinton is not favored as much as compared to Donald Trump. Going back to what I said, Hillary Clinton just announced recently before we both went on air that she is going to mention this tomorrow in the debate, and I think she has not said one word so far, and I think she's walking a very thin line doing this because she's no saint, especially what her husband has done. Actions speak louder than words. His words might be appalling, but what her husband did, his action as president of the United States, you know, disgracing the Oval Office, speaks much more louder than what Donald Trump has said.
That was her husband. That was not her.
President of the United States, and she defended him, and she's belittled women who came out and called rape on, you know, her husband. She's belittled them and everything. And actions speak louder than words, and I think she's walking a very thin line. I think she should, and she's only going to do this because she knows that when Trump has a very thick skin, that it's going to hurt him more, as we saw in the first debate. The first debate, he was doing so well the first half. The second half, he's fumbled. When she starts talking negative, the same way with the VP debate, that's when they lose track. If Donald Trump can do what Mike Pence did in the last debate, not focus on this negative, like high school drama nonsense, and focus on the issues, I guarantee you this is going to be the back page. This is going to be last week's news, and his polls are going to go up, especially when he talks about issues.
Okay, last question to you, Lewis Nelson from Politico. Last question to you. Can Donald Trump still win the presidency, do you think?
I think it would take, to use an American football analogy, it would take a Hail Mary kind of a play. It seems like a real long shot at this point, although a lot of people in my position, journalists and political pundits, have predicted Donald Trump's demise at any one of these other sort of key junctures where something embarrassing has come out or a gaffe or something like that. And we've all been wrong so far. Nobody has correctly predicted the demise of Donald Trump yet. So we'll see if maybe this is the one that does it. This certainly does narrow his path. It feels a little bit different than some of the previous issues that have come up.
All right. Thank you so much to both of you. Lewis Nelson from Politico and Mona Salama, who's a political commentator in the United States and a Trump supporter. Many thanks for your time.
Thank you, Ben.